creepy CCTV video has caught a scary man on tape prowling around a yard looking eerie as can be. He tries to stay low but fails, remaining caught on CCTV videotape the whole time as he kneels by the bike and tries to take something off it. He loudly breaks something valuable from the sound of it. His lookout looks a lot more normal and makes me wonder why his partner is wearing that creepy mask. He must be really getting into the part, I guess. Anyway, they leave not knowing they've been identified on CCTV. This took place in England, so if you happen to recognize this creepy character, contact the Sheffield Police in South Yorkshire. Ring around the rosy, you all fall down. Published by Sandeep Kumar in December of 2021, the scary video sees a playground playing by itself. Not only are both the swings on the swing set moving rapidly and not in unison, but the teeter-totter is teetering on its own. What is at play in this haunted playground? Perhaps a group of ghost children. Phil the Thrill is exploring the forest with a friend when they encounter something strange in the water that looks really out of place.
You see that?
What?
What is that?
Discarded at the end of a small stone trail is a black box tightly bound by rope with a single padlock hanging over one end. Across from the padlock is a note written for whoever finds it.
Just beat the heck out of it, maybe it will open.
Yeah, dude, what is this?
Let me see.
It's like a note or something.
Oh, what the heck?
With sadness, I'm writing this letter because I can no longer take care of her. I thought this could be the best way to give her a new life.
They take the mystery box all the way back to their house where they have the tools needed to pick the lock. Whatever's inside has been silent the entire time and they fear the worst as they pop the lid.
Pull it off, let's see what's in here. What the?
Whoa.
There's a baby in here?
Inside is not a dog like they were thinking. Apparently whoever left the note was the parent.
God.
After that, I immediately called the police.
I have trouble believing she's actually left her out in the forest. The youngster is clean and not underweight. Her clothes aren't dirty and her pacifier is still in her mouth despite getting rattled around on the way back. Phil the Thrill goes on to claim he called the police immediately. According to him, they came out and told him not to film anymore.
The police, and they were able to get the baby reunited with her parents. The police told me not to record the phone call. That's why I'm not going to post any of the footage on YouTube.
It doesn't make sense for him to post all of this other stuff, but not the one thing that would have convinced me. I think a more likely reason for the lack of a phone call is because faking a police report can get you in serious trouble. Then again, it wouldn't be that hard to pretend to talk to the police on his phone if you really wanted to fake it. Now, I'm not so sure if it's real or fake, and I guess that's why this creepy video's gotten well over 6 million views. An abandoned stone mansion, a shadow figure. This scary video delivers the goods. Published by Paranormal Explorers in November of 2021, this creepy capture was spotted on Diane Lopez's final investigation. As the Paranormal Explorers are circling the outside of the abandoned building, they spy something eerie in an upper window. A pale shadow figure appears to move past the window like a fuzzy blur. Some YouTubers think that it looks like a floating figure wearing white. Are our eyes deceiving us? Is this a trick of the light? Or did we just see a phantom in the flash? McDonald's can sometimes be a safe haven for teens, especially from those who prey on them. One young 14-year-old girl told police that a man stalked and scared her until she went to seek help at a McDonald's. The girl had been walking home the night in question when the man began following her. It was 5:30 p.m. when the girl entered the McDonald's to escape the man, who she said was 25 to 30 years old. He had been following her and harassing her, walking close to her and asking questions. He also asked for her phone number and invited her to his house so they could get to know each other. When she got to the McDonald's, she phoned her family, who in turn called police. McDonald's surveillance footage revealed a man had indeed been stalking her. When a still image of the suspect was released, a number of people recognized him and claimed he was known for this type of behavior, especially regarding young girls. Someone provided WGN News with the man's home address, and when they went there to confront the man, they were met with anger, although the man on the other end of the intercom claimed not to know what WGN was on about. He came down to speak with them, wearing the exact same clothes as that of the suspect caught on camera at McDonald's.
This is the guy they're looking for.
That's not me.
That's not you?
Well, what are they looking for him for?
You followed a 14-year-old into McDonald's?
I was just talking to her, and then she told me that she's young, and I told her, oh, okay, I was just trying to ask her.
After first denying that he was the man in the video, he admitted, "I was just talking to her." She said he just wanted information on the bus route and claimed he never asked the girl for her number and wasn't stalking her. Although WGN informed the police about the man's location, whether he was charged with any criminal behavior or not, we can only guess. Something shadowy is going on in this foreign alleyway. Published by All-in-One in October of 2021, the CCTV footage captured something unusual at Zadi Society in Meerut, India. The security camera is directed toward a building entrance and an alleyway. Everything is still, and then an obscure shadow figure suddenly appears in a blink at the bottom of the frame. It doesn't fade into view. It is there in an instant and remains there for the remainder of the video. The shadow's form is human-esque, like a spirit making itself known. Is this shadow figure a bad omen? I guess we'll have to wait and see. This neighborhood in Land O'Lakes, Florida, was built on shaky ground, and now the earth is reclaiming the houses as its own. Within the course of 9 hours, this house is completely snapped in half and sinking into a swell of groundwater so deep that it engulfs a palm tree with ease.
Do the water, see how much water?
¿Y si lo pasa a nosotros?
Hours later, the sinkhole has easily quadrupled in size and is busy dismantling a second house. There is nothing that can be done as the foundation is ripped away. Here you can see how close this third pink house comes to being lost in the abyss. Only a small strip of land protects its corner from going under, but somehow it holds firm and the family is able to recover their belongings. Sadly, all of the remaining houses had to be condemned because even though they were spared this time, the sinkhole could randomly widen at any minute. It's a terrible situation, but perhaps most terrifying is that moments before their eventual collapse, you would never suspect that anything was wrong. All of the houses look structurally sound in these photos taken months prior. The yards and driveways look level, the telephone poles stand straight up without leaning, and the roads likewise look smooth and have little cracks. In other words, exactly like your neighborhood probably looks right now. A paranormal team led by Derek Reese sits around the old family room of a haunted house in an undisclosed location. One of them must be sensitive to spirits because he asks them if they feel anything, and maybe he accidentally channels something into the room.
Oh my God, don't mess with me, please. No, I'm not.
You can see everyone except for one person when the knock happens, but her hands are in her lap under a pillow, so no, it's not her. Later on, they are looking at old videos when two visual artifacts appear. One is pink and one is green, and neither of them will go away no matter what they try. And that's when they hear creepy singing and a deep voice say something like, "Get away from the door." The audio is pretty low quality, but what do you hear? A YouTuber named Vision Quest Outdoors is exploring the Gettysburg Field when he has what he believes is a real video of a ghost sighting. The video is pretty scary and I think he could be right. Let's take a look at the paranormal evidence and try to figure out what it was he and his friends say on that night.
What is that? Oh my God. What am I seeing? No way there's a guy out here at 2 a.m.
According to the uploader, they turned around only to find the figure had mysteriously disappeared.
But they didn't move.
Swing around.
This is the footage from when they turned around, but unfortunately it's too dark to make out very much one way or another. I believe what he says is true because if I'm not mistaken, this footage is from the same location during the day. There are cannons lined up here, but no statue whatsoever. If this was the same location, then this definitely has to be a real ghost sighting caught on video. Sidestep Adventures is surprised to actually find what he's been looking for out in the Georgia woods.
You stepped on it? Oh wow. There it is.
Another person's grave. They carefully reassemble it and respectfully read her name out loud.
Yep, there it is. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Jane. And died November 3rd, 1843.
Under the heavy marker, they find a crushed bouquet of flowers left by a loved one. The petals are in excellent condition and largely retain their color. Finding fresh flowers under a more than 100-year-old grave is already weird enough, but then Sidestep Adventures reads more and realizes who this Mrs. Jane is to him.
And Stacy Duckworth and Samuel were my great-great-great-grandparents. So she was actually a half-sister to my great-great-grandfather.
So let's recap. He literally stumbles across an extremely concealed grave in the middle of the woods. Fresh flowers are underneath despite the grave being from 1843. Then he discovers it's a long-lost relative and has to admit that this seems like it could be fate.
Well, we did find it somehow. I tell you, if you hadn't stepped on it, we wouldn't have.
It's almost as if the spirit of his ancestor was waiting to be found. A live streamer named Spetsnaz Boss suspects his house could be haunted. After catching this moment on his channel, he is fully engrossed in the game when the clothing on his door lifts up for no reason at all.
This looks not good. Please, I don't wanna go, please.
The sleeve of his jacket raises in the air, as if to say hi to all of his fans watching. There could be a chance this is staged, especially considering he is coincidentally playing a scary horror game, but maybe his fear is precisely what attracted it. Legend has it that the horrors that happen in this opulent gold-gilded hotel are beyond comprehension, proof that looks can be deceiving. Published to YouTube by Alice Hammer in September of 2015. This venture inside the once bustling Goldfield Hotel is a must-stop shop for ghost hunters. This clip is just one example of this. KTVN Channel 2 News leads a crew of 7 through the dark haunted hotel using flashlights and lanterns. They stopped on their journey throughout to use the EVP to try and communicate with the spirits there. According to the news crew, on the 4th floor after passing a stairwell, something came rushing at them. They also claimed to hear footsteps approaching.
We got movement.
But it was in the basement where the anger was felt. The newscast mentions an earlier crew experiencing a brick being thrown while there, so they asked the spirit to show them that they were real, and further asked if they had thrown the brick. The response? Thank you, but we've done it.
Thank you, Jesus.
Also in the recording, a male voice says, "Didn't mean to hurt anybody."
Didn't mean to hurt anything. Didn't mean to hurt anything.
Somehow, I don't believe him. Shadow people lurk around every corner in the scary cemetery. Published by Paranormal Maya in April of 2021, the crew explores the haunted graveyard at night. As they begin their journey, they first hear a snap.
Buraya da bakıyorum sık sık. İşte bir rahip ya da rahibeler.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
It startles them and fine-tunes their senses. Setting up a still camera, the footage captures an eerie melodic tune, coupled with strange screeches in the background. Then a shadow figure appears in front of one of the gravestones. It can be seen moving toward the end of the grave, where it disappears and later reappears once again. The figure is captured at a later time, appearing in the same spot. A second pale figure moves beyond the same gravesite as well. As the crew then makes their way out of the graveyard toward the end of the video, notice the small golden statue standing here on this prayer platform. As they round the platform to head off, something smashes loudly like breaking glass. They return to find the statue has gone. Was it the work of the shadow people? Or does something else in this cemetery have a beef to pick with this crew? As the Electric City paranormal ghost investigators walk down a dimly lit hall, the camera person makes a joke to help ease the tension. Take a look where the red arrow is. The empty spot is about to become important in a second. As soon as he turns around, he gets his question answered in the form of a tall silhouette. No one was there just a second ago, but someone is there now. A living shadow that somehow stands out in near total darkness. A man from an unknown country is checking an old apartment when he is confronted by the spirit of its former inhabitants. First, something whispers behind him in another language, possibly Arabic, followed by movement. Then they slam the door he just walked through and raise the lock in midair, something that a person would not be able to do just from banging really hard on the other side. Orbs are going crazy, although it is pretty dusty in here. Anyway, pay attention to this side of the room. No one is here, yet in moments a paw flies from this direction, and when he turns around you can see the room is completely empty. Phantom figures crouch low behind doorways and promptly disappear, and when he hears these running footsteps overhead, he knows it's time to leave fast. They sound heavy and are heading straight his way. This strange forest sighting was claimed to have been found deep in the forest and was posted by a Reddit user named Paralimptor. I don't think it was too deep in the forest though, because it seems like there's a well-kept trail leading right through it. Years later, the mystery seems to have been solved. This is not a ring of creepy creatures from another planet, but rather an eerie sculpture from the Pride of the Valley Sculpture Park in the United Kingdom. I've seen this image floating around online for quite a while with no context, but now you've heard the real story on Chills. Up a long forest mountain path is an abandoned house near the Chinese city of Chengdu that is said to be haunted. An explorer named the Sneezing Monkey travels to the fabled house to see if anything paranormal is there. There's not much left inside, but he does find an old book that he seems particularly interested in. At 2 minutes and 6 seconds, it almost looks like it gets slapped out of his hands by a possible ghost, but he could have dropped it too. Tell me what these pages say. For some reason, he seems to feel it's interesting enough to show the camera. Not much else happens, and just when I was doubting this house was haunted, I hear this. He's looking at some kind of fire pit or something and hears a noise. He looks up and hears it again coming from the attic. He doesn't stick around for long and wisely decides to leave. Amy Admin wonders if an actual apparition was caught on home security camera haunting her place. Her strange sighting happened at 7 in the morning. A vaguely human-shaped figure walks to the curb and mysteriously disappears. Some scary stuff is going on across the street from her house. Or is it? Perhaps it is a reflection of a car hitting the brakes. The alleged apparition does seem to come and go with the appearance of a car. The only problem with this theory is that there's nothing here for the brake lights to reflect off of. Maybe a piece of glass on the ground or something. So what's been caught on tape, paranormal activity, or a trick of light? I don't know, and now I'm as creeped out as Amy Admin is. An abundance of paranormal activity means Stephanie Elmager is never truly home alone.
I'm gonna walk around my house. The reason I'm filming this right now is I'm trying to catch some paranormal activity on my recorder. As you can see, there is nobody in my house. Do you hear that? My TV just came on.
A kids program politely tells her to get out of the house, and then the lights turn on by themselves.
Oh, and the alarm just went off. Do you see this? There is nobody in this house. The TV just came on. Holy. If that was a ghost, give me another sign. Anything. Anything. You gotta be kidding me. Does everybody see that?
She crosses the kitchen to show us where the light switches are, and
there is nobody in this house. Look, the lights are right there. If anybody at all, I'm gonna turn it off. It was even up. Look, if anybody... Holy... What the...
A bedroom is haunted by a pale figure with a long crooked neck who is either standing behind or on top of her bed. When she does a double take, she finds it much closer now, peering at her from around the door.
Oh my God. Okay, I don't get scared very often. Oh, that just freaked me out. Okay, let's walk back in there.
I agree with her completely. I saw it too, so either this is a real ghost sighting, which I'm almost sure it is, or we are both losing our minds.
I am not losing my mind. There is nobody in here. Look, there is nobody anywhere.
A group of British friends are playing catch in a courtyard when one of them sees something strange and points it out to the others. The camera follows his gaze and stops on a pale face looking at them from high above. The sickly person looks at them for a second longer before silently slipping out of view. The group is now creeped out and wants to know who has been spying on them this whole time. They tell the property manager about the face they saw in the window, but she says that it's impossible. The room they are talking about has been locked and unoccupied for quite some time. The manager goes up with them to unlock the door and show them around. They try and find the person, but the place is completely empty. There's no way anyone could have been up there, yet the camera obviously says differently. The mysterious peeper has never been identified. The drive-through window seems like a go-to for thieves and criminals. In Columbia, Maryland, a woman decided to help herself via the drive-through. She managed to squeeze inside, bending over the window and reaching through to the soda machine, where she tried unsuccessfully to pour herself a drink, but not before dropping the paper cup, because you know the machine wasn't built to be reached from outside the drive-thru. She then actually climbs in the window to fill her cup, and she seems to be taking her sweet time. She's completely at ease and not nervous at all, as though nothing about this whole scenario is unusual, like she's done this all before. She then heads off camera and for some reason covers her head with her shirt as she carries a big box full of goods towards the window. She must think the new look will disguise her, but her face has already been clearly caught by the security cameras. She drops the box near the window and, still taking her sweet time, heads back and forth between the box and the window. You can see the Happy Meal box placed on top, but it's unclear what's inside of the bigger box. It then seems as though she's found another way out of the restaurant, as she disappears off camera and is seen outside the store, retrieving the box through the drive-thru window. The restaurant was closed when this occurred, but the box is said to have been filled with cash. He enters the room slowly, wearing a hat and a long plaid shirt. The group decides to hold a stakeout. While they're standing and talking in the dark, a knock is heard at one of the doors.
Agora ele voltou de volta
And then an even louder knock on the front door.
Quem tá aí? Eu vou abrir. Eu vou abrir.
Luan, não abre não, Luan. Você não sabe quem que é, velho.
Quem tá aí?
Ai! Ai! Fecha, Luan!
When they unlock and open it, there he stands. He makes his way toward the door, but the crew manages to lock it in time. But that doesn't keep the bandit at bay. Before they know it, he's pounding at the windows. Will he get inside? I'm afraid he might. But why is this stranger so determined to get in here? I guess we'll never know. This abandoned village isn't what it seems. Published by HD Adam in October of 2021, a camera has been staged in an empty room of one of the abandoned buildings in this village. Everything is still in the room at first, but then the doors at the end of the room start slamming open and shut. When they close, a large mirror fixed to the wall suddenly shatters out of nowhere. Nobody is in this room. Is this poltergeist angry that it has no image? We can only hope it doesn't come to claim ours. Even ghosts have a sense of humor. Published by Curiosity Circle in November of 2021, this restaurant is haunted by a bit of a prankster. The scary video shows the restaurant's kitchen doors swinging wildly open and closed. They are not swinging in unison, but rather each door sporadically. Those inside the kitchen can be seen through the windows continuing to work. Perhaps they're used to the resident ghost's antics. As the doors swing, you can see there's no one beyond, pushing or pulling them. The YouTuber writes, "At first we thought a child had moved the doors or that the mechanical system had failed, but if you look closer you can see that it's moving on its own, like someone or something is playing with them intentionally. Is this Joker just having a laugh? Or maybe he's just a really demanding customer." A YouTuber named X Hauntings is recording a video of some home improvements in the basement when he records a bizarre white object traveling his way at a high velocity. Normally I would say that this could be a bug or a speck of dust, but X Hauntings also recorded this crazy voice as the object passes by. Tell me if you hear a woman's voice yell, "Get out," as loud as she can. In this next part, I have no idea. I would say dust, but dust particles do not act like this. A girl and the person filming were innocently playing around outside, but they were not alone. Published to YouTube in May of 2019, nightmares abound after watching this video, which is gaining attention in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. The clip shows a girl playing with a ball outside a yellow fenced-in building. She runs up to the fence, behind which a pair of swings are wrapped together in knots. After a moment, the girl points at something or someone behind the camera person, who turns around to see what she's indicating. There is no one in the distance across the field, but there is someone right behind her. The ghoul of a girl appears semi-transparent as the camera shot falls. We can only imagine the camera person fled in fear from this thing she was not meant to see. Tag, you're it. Game over. The shadow hunters from Brazil go exploring the woods for an abandoned house haunted by an angry poltergeist. It's a long walk through darkness to find it, but when they do, they go sprinting up to its yellow walls to try and catch the poltergeist by surprise.
Vai por aí. Tem alguém aí?
They walk around the perimeter of the poltergeist house and find something else that leaves him extremely freaked out and regretting their decision to come here at night.
Tem nada aí não, mano. Tem alguém aí? Tem vela aqui também. Nossa, mano do céu.
On the ground are more candles and a sheet that with something strangely shaped underneath of it. Candles surround the object on all sides and give me a bad feeling that something has gone really wrong here. Whatever's been covered with a sheet is not moving and shows no signs of life. They go inside for a closer look but do not dare lift up the sheet and see what's inside. What do you think was under there? If the legends were true about this poltergeist being a summoner, then I think we all know the answer. They might have set this all up for a video, but I don't think so. He doesn't waste any time ending this video and calling the police. Old ship vessels are often known for their ghostly secrets. After all, they've seen the greatest evils on Earth in the name of battle. Published to YouTube in February of 2013, the ghost activity aboard this Navy ship, the USS Hornet, originally aired on DE episode 32. The crew member can be heard explaining how to use the EVP. When in the background of his discussion with the newbie, you can hear a strange voice, one that sounds like a little girl.
Alright, if you'd like to speak to us. Alright, if you'd like to speak to us.
It's hard to tell what the girl is saying without the voice being isolated in the audio file. Although YouTube commenters have their theories. YouTuber Madcaps and Nemos writes, "It sounds like she said, 'Can you tell me why they forgot me?' Others here, 'Do you think they know they got me?' Some simply hear, 'Play with me.' What do you hear?"
Alright, if you'd like to speak to us. Alright, if you'd like to speak to us.
There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. When you're face to face with a predator in the jungle at night. I first came across this video on the Spanish-speaking YouTube community, and it was published in February of 2020. This sinister video stands out in an ultra-scary list. The shot pulls into the darkness of some jungle leaves and foliage, where the viewer can somewhat make out a discernible shape. It appears like a wild cat hidden in the leaves, waiting to pounce. If you saw this crouching out of the corner of your eye as you took your everyday jungle route home at night, would you be afraid? You should be. Elliot Mosqueda has a motion sensor cam in his living room that at first glance appears to go off for no reason. Look at the television though to see someone crossing the room. I can see the black reflection of this square poster in the television, so it definitely really was the same background. The question is if it's real or edited. This video of a girl brushing her teeth is said to have been found behind a dumpster by a nearby worker taking a break. Deep voices on the tape sound like they must have been slowed down, but her toothbrush sounds normal, so I don't know what's going on here at all. After 14 seconds of this, movement is heard off camera, and she is ambushed by something that sounds not of this world. I get the impression that she was not aware that she was being recorded because she never looks at the camera. Maybe it was even taken on the other side of a one-way mirror or through a hole in the wall. This alleged ghost video was taken on the second floor of a college, but I think it might simply be a chair getting pulled by string. Still, do you see anything here when zoomed in? I can't say I do. British music store in Brighton called GAC captures 2 paranormal events on CCTV. The first one happens during business hours, in which a white outline walks up the steps and skirts around a customer while they send a text. Sometime later, it walks back up to one of them and then turns around at the last second. If this is a CCTV glitch showing overlapping video, then it's weird how the phantom figure seems to take their positions into account when moving. About 2 months later, these guitars sway back and forth with no one in the store. None of the other instruments move at all, no shadows on the wall to indicate anyone is nearby. If this is not real, then how was it done? While crossing a bridge on a foggy night, this motorist witnessed a live vanishing act. Posted to TikTok, a biker is seen up ahead. The motorist looks right and then left while crossing the bridge. The biker is still in front of him, but he is getting more and more lost in the fog. And then suddenly, the biker disappears altogether, even as the fog clears up ahead. Where did he go? Wherever he went, humans were clearly not meant to see it.
Negeri di atas awan.
This solo ghost hunt turned up some mysterious proofs, published by Makia Wright in February of 2022. The Ghost Hunter scary video has the trifecta, mist, orbs, and voices. While walking along a dirt path at night in the forest, a strange mist moves in. It's the unusual shape and movement of the mist that makes it so eerie, like a spirit is swooping in. A round orb seems to be flying below it in tandem. The YouTuber says he didn't see it at the time he was filming.
I didn't see that at the time on the camera at all, but it does go by fast.
A second video filmed on the same night appears to have captured a disembodied voice. The voice murmurs, and this time the YouTuber hears it in the moment.
I have to look that back on the camera.
It does not sound like his voice, so whose is it? What do you make of this pair of videos? Looks like a successful ghost hunt requiring further investigation. A dog barks in the distance at an alleged ghost seen floating around a woman's college in Asansol, India. It kind of looks like they are floating in midair at first, but I think they are probably walking across a rather thin branch. I think I see them grab onto the tree for support at 6 seconds into the video, so I can't agree for certain that this is an actual ghost. Asking you shall receive. Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit, Paranormal Popcorn writes that his friend Jason sent him this scary video. The video shows a digital clock. It's 5:57. Jason says he was awoken by a loud noise, so he entered the living room and found an overhanging light fixture swinging wildly back and forth. He says they haven't had an earthquake as far as he knows. He explains that an old hutch in the room once showed reflections in the glass, whereas the door of the hutch was locked in place. It was found hanging open. He shows that a couple of other overhanging lights are not swinging, only this one by the hutch is. He explains that this happened once before, and so he believes he has an entity on his hands. He starts addressing his girlfriend's departed grandmother who owned the hutch. Her name was Manny. He asks the entity if she has a message for him or would like to communicate. He asks the entity to move something or make a noise to signal that she's there. Though out of frame, an old chair slides loudly on its own.
Please move something and let me know that you're here.
He asks again and the chair slides a second time.
Or give me a sign that it's you. That would mean a lot.
He checks beneath the table and nothing is there. While Jason certainly seems calm, though bewildered, he probably shouldn't be interacting with the spirit. As Redditor Christian Sands writes in the comments, if this is real, I would tell your friend to stop immediately asking the entity to move things. It's like an open invitation to a long-term relationship. Would you like a long-term relationship with this ghost? Yeah, me neither. Have you ever met an angry shadow? You're about to. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Sensitive Chart 6221. This scary video was captured in Amarillo, Texas, as the Redditor and his friends were exploring. The footage shows the group walking down the hallway of an abandoned hospital. Watch the doorway at the end of the hall. You can see a dark figure around the corner. It moves out of view as they pass, but it's not clear if that's because the cameraman is veering left or the figure physically hides itself. The right side door also seems to fall closed. A moment later, you hear a strange groan or growl.
Look down one of these before.
Some in the comments think it sounds like an animal. Others think that the dark figure is just the shadow of the dude in the white shirt. Or could the shadow figure be growling at these intruders? I'm gonna go with that as my guess. What lies beneath these murky waters? Published by Blah Blah in November of 2021 and originally published by YouTuber Cup Steward. A group of friends is rowing a small boat at night when they discover they're not alone on the river. While floating in still waters, one of the crew reaches his hand into the river. He snatches it back like he felt something grab him. As their camera is directed toward the water, a few feet away, a giant glint of light is visible in the darkness, but it's not clear what it is. After a moment, a blue hand slices through the water. A slow motion capture of the hand reveals long, thin fingers, all basically the same length. This hand is not human, and it doesn't belong to any known earthly being. Is this a real-life swamp monster? All we know is this crew better vacate these waters before they're dragged down with it. This shadowy figure was seen prowling around the enclosure of a Palm Beach zoo shortly before a monkey named Kaylee was taken from her pen, never to be seen again. This large hole confirms that humans broke into the exhibit as opposed to the animal escaping on its own. I have no idea what this person intends to do with her, and that perhaps is most worrying of all. Whatever their plans are, I doubt anyone who would randomly do this is a responsible caretaker, with an appropriate habitat set up for her. At 12 years of age, Kaylee is very old for her species and I would imagine very fragile. The zoo has offered an undisclosed cash reward for the return of their beloved animal and any information leading to the person responsible. Brittany Drexel is on vacation at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. A CCTV video from 2009 shows her walking into a hotel and looking to the right. It's the last time anybody has ever seen her. I'm not sure how soon she disappeared after this video was recorded, but I'm wondering if she was possibly looking at somebody approaching her. We'll never know what happened in the moments after unless a witness steps forward. The FBI has declared that she was probably taken by someone, but they have no leads to this day, and they have never recovered her over 10 years later. Hopefully a $25,000 reward can change that and bring some closure to her poor family. A ghost hunter named Solo Ambush goes exploring an abandoned morgue in the woods full of creepy things. The place has been deserted for years, but the smell of bodies has buried itself into the morgue walls. This table surface must be where they were prepared for burial. On it he finds a needle to sew whatever shut. He puts it in his pocket, which possibly upsets the spirits because that's when the paranormal activity begins. He puts an object on the table and invites any spirits nearby to make it move.
Ada lagi. Dia sudah mula bunyi.
A defiant spirit moves things behind him instead. When he goes to investigate the noise, he finds nothing, and then he gets an idea.
Okay, let's switch off the light.
A figure in red silently passes across the floor of the haunted, abandoned mortuary with its head down. He runs after it and finds only the stench of decay is left in its wake, nothing else.
Bau busuk lagi.
He says this ghost sighting could be a reflection of light, but he is standing in a dark hallway with the lights off, so I'm not sure I agree with that one. Like many of the previously haunted places he's gone exploring in the past, what he's caught on tape in this building is most likely paranormal and terrifying. And as he leaves, something slams the door closed behind him. The ghost hunter is no longer welcome to go exploring this haunted place. Not that he ever was to begin with. This video stands as a clear warning to always verify who is at your door before you answer it. This Ring video was originally posted to TikTok by Wynn's Home Awareness. The video shows a man wearing a hood approaching the door of this residence. It's nighttime. He rings the doorbell, and when the homeowner opens it, the man immediately enters without asking. It's clear he is a stranger. When the homeowner tells the man he needs to leave, the intruder starts stammering incomprehensibly.
Who are you? Aaron right now. Out there, Aaron. You need to leave. Out there. Out there. What's the reason here,
The homeowner has to physically grab the man's arm and shove him outside. As he slams the door shut, the man starts pounding on it.
What? What's the stone stairs here? Come on, where are you going? What's the stairs here? Goodbye.
Even though he's now locked out, the intruder stands on the front step looking in. He tries the handle several times, just waiting there. What are this man's intentions? We can only guess, but I'd wager they aren't good. Stalking should never be taken lightly, as is made clear by this next video, published by Terry TV in December of 2020. A streamer named Ellie Gatto, dressed in costume, is walking through the streets of a Japanese city at night. Fun, right? Well, it was until this guy showed up. The stalker, captured on camera, is not even trying to hide his intent, walking alongside the streamer with a sword known as a katana. He smiles as Ellie Gatto laughs uncomfortably.
Why is this guy following us? Why is he following us? Let's go this way. Oh god.
When she and her friend double around to try and lose him, the man follows. Ellie Gatto says they should go find her friend's husband. As she continues to try and lose the man, her laughter turns to real fear and concern. She even starts running as she attempts to call someone on the phone. She is brought to tears as the man gives chase. Fear Tales explains that a bystander noticed what was going on and pointed the girls to a hospital for protection.
This guy has noticed. Can I help us go to police?
He is seen in the video running alongside Ellie Gatto and serving as a witness to the man's predatory behavior. Later, the stalker is seen being led by authorities into a station. Although this scenario seemingly started as a joke, it quickly took a terrifying turn. Thankfully, this bystander didn't just stand by. It's late at night when a YouTuber named Single Athel hears something just outside of his home. His curiosity outweighs his fear, and so he takes a camera outside with him to try and find the source. At least one person is sure this is a demon, but a lot of people are saying it's just a fox. Let me know what you hear. This video was taken in December, which does fall in line with the fox mating season. Still, it's kind of strange that the person living here claims to have never heard this before and doesn't know what it is. Here's another clip to help you analyze the source with me.
What is that noise?
Was this a fox or something much worse? Like the rake. You're flying through the air at 35,000 feet when the airplane door pops open. What would you do? Published to metro.co.uk. That's the predicament passengers were faced with on a flight from Jordan to Rio Branco, Brazil. The airplane door opened mid-flight, hitting the engine's propeller as it did so. This caused the pilot to shut down the left engine. Passengers were then forced to try and hold the door closed for the remainder of the flight. The light aircraft carrying 15 to 21 passengers took off at 12:30 p.m. Most of the flight unfolded without incident. That is, until a support cable on the door reportedly broke, causing the door to fling open. At least 2 passengers joined together to keep it closed until landing 20 minutes later. Luckily, the flight landed at 2 p.m. without any reported injuries, although I imagine it left those aboard with a newfound fear of flying. Robert Arbuckle is the name of a man whose spirit is said to still inhabit this restaurant in Florida called Pelican's Alley. 2 ghost investigators stand on the other side of the kitchen door, where Robert is seen the most. You can see it is empty.
There it goes again. You see it underneath the door? It's getting darker and darker in that left-hand side for some reason.
A side profile of a man definitely appears in the doorway, yet when they go inside, the figure is gone. The question is whether or not this was a third friend, or in fact Robert himself. A group of friends see a stranger leave the woods in a hurry. They think it's odd and make a video.
Andy caught someone coming out of the tunnel. Pretty creepy, pretty scary. So.
Oh, bro, what's that smell?
Oh, it's rank.
Can you smell that?
Guys, there's literally flies all over the place.
Oh, bro, can you smell that? That stinks, bro.
Oh, nasty, man.
In the tunnel, they find a white sheet covered in red with a very distinct human outline underneath, and this is their reaction.
That stinks. Man, that was grim. Hey, we need to ring the police.
Crazy as anything.
Having this happen would be really scary.
We need to ring the police.
What?
We need to ring the police.
Have you got a phone?
No, I've not got a phone. Have you got one? Hey, can I have police, please?
One minute you're hanging out with your friends, and the next moment you're all suspects.
Yeah, I've just been exploring with mate, and we've just found a body.
A man dressed in a Scream outfit is causing havoc at gas stations across 3 different counties in Virginia. As these surveillance pictures show, his method of choice is to brazenly walk in armed, and he's not bluffing with it either. One time, he marched into a Raceway gas station in Chesterfield and went straight for the cashier. Somehow he missed, but that event bumped the case up to the FBI, who quickly put out a $10,000 cash reward on his head. So far, the unidentified suspect has been linked to incidents in Richmond, Chesterfield, Henrico, and quite possibly more. This happened in January and February of 2019. He is still out there somewhere, maybe even hitting up gas stations in a different state with a new disguise. Contact the Richmond FEI division if you have any information for the $10,000 cash reward. I've included links in the description. Number 2. A man is returning home from work with his uncle when 4 men quietly approach his car. His back is turned and he doesn't notice their presence until they are already on top of him and it's too late. The home surveillance video cuts off moments before his life is taken in his own driveway. Because of this man's bravery, his uncle is able to get away and contact authorities. They have since placed a minimum of $5,000 reward money to whoever can provide more information leading to the men responsible for this senseless act. FBI investigators are offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to this man being taken into police custody due to an incident in a bank lobby in Somerville, Massachusetts. It seems to me like when he first enters that he is full of adrenaline and ready to take out anyone in his way without any hesitation or regrets. He checks all of the nearby rooms and demands money from a teller. He also tried to take out a security guard but fortunately misses. The authorities have been searching for this man ever since. Number 12. A creepy duo stomps up the steps of a bank on Washington Street in Halliston, Massachusetts. Both draw from hidden pockets as they approach the teller. If you happen to live around the Boston area and know anyone who has ever worn the masks shown here, then you might be able to help the FBI solve this case, which occurred in May of 2018 and has yet to be solved. A cash reward of $10,000 will be given to anyone who can supply the FBI with solid leads. A YouTuber captures an apparition on his doorbell cam that somehow changes shape and color. First, it has an oversized white head with no face. Then it becomes see-through to the point where you can make out the bush behind it. And then it switches to a blinding white color without getting thinner. The whole time it somewhat resembles a human in height and gait, but how? Since this is the only footage of the apparition, we may never know. A Malaysian man is determined to rid his home of a spirit that has been haunting his family. After 8 minutes of meditation and recital, a section of the wall begins to move like someone's pressing on it. If it was the wind, then this object moves when it's all the way over here. Shortly afterwards, this strange sighting is caught on camera. It looks like a piece of dust or hair to some. Others see a special island spirit called a pokong that's twisted tightly in white robes. This part could be CGI, but that doesn't explain the object spinning on the floor by itself, away from him and away from any potential breeze. Vlad Reznov checks out an abandoned hospital in their scariest Russian paranormal exploration yet. After 14 minutes, they find an uncovered underground entrance.
Ну что, там есть что-то? Аккуратно, ты понимаешь, что мы здесь точно не одни в этом доме?
Еще не знаете.
Влад, погоди! Влад, погоди! Иди не туда!
His assistant sees it first, a ghost with long black hair over its face, standing in the doorway. They escape underground and don't look back, but I did, and here's my thoughts. Overall, I don't think this video is real. The figure looks like a generic Hollywood ghost sighting. The way it's positioned perfectly center in the doorway with hair over its face is a classic pose from The Ring and unlikely to be real. There's no set rules for what a real ghost sighting looks like, but with that said, I'm pretty sure this is not it. Steve and Jake are wandering around the woods one summer night with a single goal in mind. They want to explore an abandoned local chapel that's rumored to be haunted. As they approach, they see that someone has written prayers and warnings all over the outside wall. The two friends instantly get a bad feeling about this adventure, but they swallow their fear and decide to press on. The rickety main door is locked, so they sneak around back. Already, they don't want to be here much longer. They had explored an old clock tower earlier in the day and were greatly disappointed by a lack of paranormal activity. But they could tell this church is way different. The place looked and felt quite haunted. They go up some wooden steps and enter through the back door. They shine their flashlights deep into the church's main assembly. There's rows and rows of wooden pews ahead of them. They pass by a podium and notice a piano. Then they head deeper inside. Now they find themselves inside of a small maintenance closet. They close the door behind them because they don't want anyone sneaking up on them. It feels like anyone could be watching them right now. They see a ladder to the left. Steve is about to climb it until Jake jokes that a body is going to fall down on him if he does, so he decides not to. That's when the piano starts to play from outside.
Oh no. Oh my god. Turn the light. Turn the light. Listen, listen. Oh shit, that's fucking piano. Is that piano? Oh, should we go out there? Is that door open? Is that door open?
It's a soft and haunting piano melody that fills the church. Steve and Jake shut off their flashlights and keep recording. They debate whether or not they should go outside or stay here, where it's semi-safe. They realize that they can't spend the entire night trapped in the broom closet of a haunted church. So they turn their flashlights back on to see who is playing. Sitting at the piano at the far end of the room is a black hunched over phantom. They scream and shut the door. Jake cries for a bit, then they run away through the back exit. The music stops as soon as they leave the church. They were hoping that the music stopped because it was over, but in reality, it was because the ghost had gotten up from the piano to chase them. They run a good distance before pausing to look back into the dark scenery. It seems like they've gotten away, but then the ghost finds them and they run away screaming. The camera cuts off as they fall back deeper into the woods. At least one of them survived and uploaded this video onto YouTube, where it's remained for the past 10 years. Most people think of houses, hospitals, or jails when they think about ghost sightings, but some of the most unsuspecting of places can turn out to be the most haunted. This footage was taken in a popular food joint during broad daylight. A shadowy ghost suddenly materializes in a Subway restaurant. It starts out in the shape of a human and almost appears to be getting a table. When it gets back to its seat, the black shadow suddenly changes into a floating black blob of an orb. At this point, an employee or maybe a customer appears to see the ghost in the doorway. Whoever they are, they look stunned for a second and then quickly back away. The shadow orb pays no attention to the human as it floats up to the window and lingers there. It's almost as if it's taking a look at the outside world. The ghost starts to rise even higher and shrinks until it fully disappears back to wherever it came from. A Russian YouTuber named Phantom claims to have met a ghost at an abandoned house that's full of, quote, many terrible and mysterious legends. Maybe this sign will tell us more about its history if someone can translate it. All I can make out is the year 1910 at the very bottom. In the middle of a rock floor, he finds candles unlit, strewn in a circle. The scene gives him an eerie feeling and he doesn't want to stay here for long, for fear of whoever left them here returning to find him. He thinks the legends probably are not real, and that whoever set these candles was just trying to scare paranormal explorers like him. He decides to come back even later at night to make sure the legends of paranormal activity really are just a myth. As he creeps back to the house, he's surprised to find the candles are now lit and his horrors have just begun. Standing in the middle of the circle is a mysterious tall figure wearing robes, and seemingly not even noticing Phantom is at the window. So deep is its concentration, it's locked in a dark meditation of some sort that he cannot break. Phantom no longer cares about getting the best paranormal evidence ever caught on camera, and goes running into the woods for his life. The woods have grown colder, more forbidding, as he hides between a tree and wait, too afraid to turn his light off even though he knows he's being followed. The mysterious figure is on him in an instant, and as it heads his way without taking any steps, he gets to see its smirking face under the cloak. I think this video is probably not real, because it looks like he uses a filter to stimulate his equipment messing up, and also because if it was real, then I don't know how he could have survived. A fox with clouded over white eyes bites at the door, its tongue extending wildly, its teeth making a terrible scraping noise across the glass. This fox appears to have lost its mind, probably from rabies. It has no idea where it's going or what it's looking at, only that it wants to get inside and cause chaos. Look into its eyes, and you'll see all instinct is lost, replaced with madness and confusion. Its tongue lashes out for moisture that isn't there, smearing its sickness into the glass. When it opens its mouth at 58 seconds, you can see the points of all of its teeth are gone, probably broken off from biting many hard surfaces as it stumbles through its final hours. Thank you so much for getting me to 10,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 20,000 subscribers next. Thank you.